We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Tuesday. We're recording Monday night, and we have a guest on today. And kind of excited about this because this is a guest we've never had on before. And on top of that, he's probably the youngest guest. In fact, I know he's the youngest guest we've ever had. He is Jay from the West Coast. And what are you, 20 years old?
Yeah, yeah, 20 years old. I
What's
just
the
turned
old
20
joke?
last August, this past August.
What's the old joke? I've got underwear older than that. Fucking thing is, I probably do, but well,
I
I,
wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't.
that's how you know you're old. That's when I first realized when I was old. When somebody says to you, "Remember 20 years ago?" and you can, then you know you're old. You can't remember 20 years ago, but I sure the fuck can, and I was old
How
back then.
how you know you feel older than you are is when somebody says, "Remember 20 years ago," and you wish it was 20 years ago,
Yeah, yeah,
even though
that's
you're never
true.
around for it.
That's well. Let me ask you this, Jay. How did you end up here? How did you end up listening to what I'm doing here and what the rest of us do on the podcast? It just seems unlikely somebody of your age would be engaging and listening to what's going on here. It's totally different
Well,
realm than what most 20-year-olds want to do.
it started in Denmark after I tuned into politics and I looked at the poll numbers and I got tired of the corporate media just gaslighting me and I guess the proper word would be into pardon my language, folks out there, they're sensitive. I know they probably don't give a shit because you're kind of a loose cannon in that regard, and we all love you for it. But I got tired of being sort of intellectually mind fucked by the media, and so I
Gotcha.
decided to search for independent outlets like Midas Touch. I was a follower of Fair and Balanced for a little bit.
Hmm.
He's guy with the Ring of Fire show, but then he kind of went off the rails and he wouldn't. He these days he's talking about like, oh, sky's falling, we're all doomed, we're all gonna die. And it's like, ease up, dude. He wouldn't stop hosting absolute absolute asshole on his show, Mike Papantonio, who, in addition to just being kind of an arrogant jerk ass, he had a really disrespectful back and forth with Farron Cousins after the debate, in which they basically they it was this really it ended up coming off as this really misogynistic, like they were trying to frame Jill Biden as the reason Joe wasn't stepping down, and they called her Lady McBiden. And I saw that and I was like, oh fuck you.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
Lady McBiden, really? Like I went and subscribed from both shows then and there because that's like that you guys are better than that. Or if you're not, you should be.
One of the things I've said some things maybe negatively about Midas Touch and those other ones, not because I don't think they aren't decent. And I'm not trying to suggest that what I'm doing is better because I'm not suggesting that. But when you're in a network, you've got to appeal to the people who run the station and where the money comes from.
Yeah,
But
gotta listen to
even when
those suits.
you're in Midas Touch or Ring of Fire or some of these other places, even David Packman to a certain extent, you got to do what you got to do to perpetuate your business because you're trying to make money, you're trying to make a career, you're trying to gain some fame. And that's why I feel better about what I do because I don't care about the fame. I'm 64 years old. Whatever fame I have now, more than
No,
enough. I don't need the
you're
money.
roughing it in the wilderness.
Right. And I can just say whatever I want. But even in those people that are independent, they still got to pay the bills. They still got to appeal to the masses. So they've got to kind of structure what they say. I just got
Dollar
personally, I
dollar
got
bills,
tired of,
y'all.
yeah, I just want to hear what the fucking deal is. Just be honest with me. I'm not stupid. I just want to hear what the fucking facts are. And it's hard to find these days, especially for someone as young as you. You said you were in Denmark. What were you doing in Denmark?
Um, what I was doing was it was a study abroad program. It was a
Oh,
they call it an international people's college, And what it is you go to this town in Denmark called Helsingør, which is ways north of Copenhagen.
Hmm.
We're talking like the part of Denmark that's like, say, Sweden is here. It looks different from the way I'm looking at it from where my hands are, but other way really. This Denmark is here, Sweden is here. Helsingør is up at the tip of Denmark, where like you can catch a ferry and you're in Sweden.
Oh, okay. So,
And yeah,
you're on the West Coast now. This is where you're from originally. This is your home.
it, not quite. I was originally born in Portland, Oregon. My family lived there for 2 years, but I've been here so long that I'm basically, yeah, I'm kind of just from here just for virtue of having lived here pretty much all my life.
But you're not staying there. You have plans otherwise. And just so people
Yes, I
know,
do.
you've heard the emails Jay sent. So he's talked about this before. But
Yeah.
let's just reiterate. What's the next steps for you as a 20-year-old man?
Well, just to recap to the viewers, I am, as in the emails I've said before, I'm Jay of the Canadian Path now, formerly Jay from California. Um, where I'm at right now is my family lives right next to, and I mean like right next to, the local Santa Rosa Junior College, or the Petaluma campus anyway. So what I'm doing is, and I have people I talk to, I have a counselor. God bless that woman for being willing to put up with all the shit I put her through after the election. Um, I mean, I was a fucking mess after that. Um, no, I my next step of my plan is I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem.
I my next plans right now is to finish up the current classes that I've got. I did a brief foray into filmmaking before the election, and then after everything went down, I was like, oh hell no, I gotta bump this up. I gotta take this more seriously because this is my ticket out of here. And so what I'm doing is I'm registering for classes that align with my major that are transferable. And what I'm going to do, I believe we were looking at it next fall because I think the deadlines to get in are closed to get in the winter are closed by now. So what I'm going to do next fall is I'm going to take all the credits that I have, the GED that I have, and I'm going to transfer to a university in Canada,
Any particular one
right?
that you're looking at?
Um, well, when I started out, all options were open except for the universities in Quebec. Because
Okay.
if you're going to a place in Quebec and you don't know French, you're fucked. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's basically just how it is. And I know this having met well, I was actually at IPC, there were a couple people from Canada, a couple of the sort of the Anglophone Canadians, which is like from the West and like the rest of Canada. And there was one from
Mhm.
Quebec. Her name was Frederique, lovely girl. She was very, very French, and she made it very clear if you're in Quebec and you don't have French, you could take a hike, buddy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, so Quebec is out. Everywhere else is a maybe, but so far I'm most strongly gravitating towards I'm kind of angling towards okay, let me get my head on straight a little here. Manitoba and Saskatchewan are a little bit lower on my list because while I've heard that Saskatchewan in particular is a little bit more like its environment isn't that different from here in Petaluma. Like have you ever done the Google Maps Street View thing where you just drop yourself
Yeah.
in the middle of a random street somewhere? I did that in Regina, Saskatchewan. Sorry for you folks out there in Canada. I'm not going to pronounce the name of that city the way how it actually is because there's way too many double entendres associated with that. So no, seriously, some sex positive group did a whole campaign based on that. Like, show us your. It's so fucking
Oh,
stupid. Anyway,
I'll just say it's pronounced Regina, right?
yeah, and I hear that and I'm just like, why do you name your city that? Like, it's so easy. Like, just has no one here watched Mean Girls? Like, it's all you have to do is you just got to go Regina, and no one's gonna think anything of it. But no, you had to be all fancy or whatever the thought process was.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I was
I
growing
shouldn't
up,
really
I
talk shit
had
about
this.
Canada as an American.
Well, it's just the nature of people's mentalities. When I was growing up in middle school, which is the absolute worst era for schools, kids are big enough to get in serious trouble, but dumb enough not to know any better. But there was a poor girl that went to school with us whose name was Virginia, and you can
Oh,
imagine
good Lord.
the trouble she got into. Fortunately, she was a friend of mine, and I could control some folks. But anyway, let me ask you this: you're in Denmark, you're on the West Coast in California. Now you're looking to go to Canada. You're 20 years old. That impresses me because when I was 20 years old, which was in 1980, which is when Ronald Reagan took over, what
You
I
voted
cared
for him.
about,
I remember you saying that.
I did vote for him.
Do you
What
regret
I
that?
was thinking of, but I didn't. Oh, fuck yeah. Um, but
We all
but the
did.
thing is, is that when I was 20 years old, I wasn't thinking about politics. I voted because, well, I get to vote. I was thinking about drinking beer, going to parties, meeting girls. I wasn't thinking about politics at all. I find it amazing that a young man of your age, uh, it's playing such a big part of your life. Is that common, do you think, with kids your age these days, or are you unusual?
I feel like I'm unusual, partially because, 1 second. Sorry, I'm drinking
No problem.
uh, I'm drinking a meal supplement, and it makes this gunk when you drink it. So don't do it if you have respiratory problems. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, I'm from California, like I said before. Sonoma County is a very, very liberal, very progressive place. Um, my parents are also, I would say they're liberal. I wouldn't say I'm progressive, but I don't know. I'm progressive, but I'm not the crazy brand of progressive. And what I mean by
Gotcha.
that is I have two people in my screenwriting class who are that crazy brand of progressive. I heard them sort of like heckling to each other one year because my professor was also very, very passionate about this. He went and campaigned and canvassed for Kamala Harris in Nevada.
Hmm.
And these two far left latte liberal Bernie bro idiots, like, Will and other folks on your show have talked about this. These people are sort of like silently hissing to each other, like, oh, free Palestine, genocide Joe. Oh, she's a cop. Motherfucker, she's a prosecutor.
Yeah,
She was a
exactly.
fucking prosecutor. And now these people after the election, I wonder if they're still hissing free Palestine, free Palestine. Palestine is dead.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree with
sorry.
you.
Palestine is
They
dead,
fucked
and
up.
you are rooting for its corpse.
Yep, they fucked up. This is one of those times you see people do this a lot. They get caught up in what they believe is true, and just because they think it and it comes out of their mouth, it's as if it came directly from Jesus. One of the most important things you have to learn in life: you can be wrong. It's not shameful to be wrong. You have to
That's what
recognize when you're wrong and do something different. But these people, the Trump-a-fucks and the far left and the far right, they can't admit they're wrong. They just double and triple down.
yeah, that's a big part of why I'm going this whole Canadian path in the first place, is because this is where it all ties into like social media and like the loss of critical thinking and the collective dumbing down of the nation. It's like, let me just first of all start with the social media thing.
Sure.
Am I the only one who feels like social media has in general been a part of a net negative to the country overall? Hear me out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I
Yeah.
mean, I think there are some good things on social media, but there's a lot of bad too. And some people can't discern which is which.
Here's why I say that. Um, my God, how do I put this? From what I've seen, the report they did on why my age group, Gen Z, shifted so hard right of those now, granted, only of those who voted shifted right because the vast
Right.
majority of this country just didn't fucking vote, and that pisses me off to high heaven as well.
Yeah.
Um, of those that voted and that went to the right, um, a lot of them cited the fact that they want a $600,000 salary to feel financially stable. I have
Yeah.
to laugh. I have to laugh at that first off. Also, a couple reasons I can tell you why this is happening. For one thing, we can trace part of this back to this fucking Reaganomics
Yep.
because this asshole he somehow, it's stupid and it doesn't work, but he somehow sold the country on it, has been peddling this, and his supporters have been peddling this bullshit for 40 years. Trickle down economics, let's give to the people at the top. It'll trickle down, wages will go up, people will be able to afford shit. Psych, it doesn't work. That's part of it. The other part is influencers. And that is why I avoid social media, is because of these fucking influencers.
Yeah.
These people will go around, they will flaunt their fake wealth, they'll pretend they're living in luxury and they have all this money, they have all this privilege when they really don't. And people of my age, they see this and they want a cut of it.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
It's like
My
you're
wife
not
was a
going to get
teacher.
that.
My wife was a teacher in grade school, and all the kids would say, I want to be a pro athlete. I want to be an influencer, because it was all about the money. I'm going to ask you something I noticed when my youngest son graduated from college. I noticed a lot of young men graduating from college. They went through some shit. They were almost kind of depressed. And it was because, you're going through high school, you're going through college, you're thinking, shit, I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to have a great job. I'm going to have a beautiful spouse. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then when graduation from college comes, you say, fuck, I don't know how that's not going to happen. They were expecting so much, and they were given so little. Once they left college, you get a job that can't even pay back your fucking loans, and the opportunities aren't there. So there was a realization that set in with young men, especially young men, because they expected to go off and do great things. Now they may still, but they expected it boom like that to happen. And part of that is
Yeah,
what we see in social media and the media in general.
it's like I go around, I look at all these people say like, oh, it's the economy, oh, it's the border. It's like, first of all, let's get a big thing out of the way. A lot of the people who either vote or don't vote in this country, I've noticed, and it's more than it should be. It's definitely more than it should be.
Absolutely.
You look at their understanding of civics and politics, they don't have a fucking clue what's going on or what they're voting for.
Right.
They don't know how government works. They don't think they're voting for a president. They think they're voting for a dictator, no king. They think they're voting for a fucking miracle worker who can snap his problems and bippity boppity boo, problem solved. It doesn't work like that. Get it together,
I,
people.
I did something yesterday that I swore I wasn't going to do, but then I thought, fuck it, I need this to get this off my chest. Uh, I did my regular podcast, which was emails, and I like doing those, and
I
people
saw
like to
that.
hear it
Yeah.
because the input. But then I did an extra one, and what I did
I,
was,
I think I caught that just before I came on. The not a podcast.
no, no, that's a different one. That's just all the TikToks. I did one called Opposition Extra.
Oh,
Now, if you,
Jesus. I barely got like half an hour into that before I had to turn it off because the guy you're up against, that guy pissed me off. I mean,
yeah, well, and see that's why I did it, because I was just angry, and I needed to get this off my chest. I needed to hammer somebody. Part of me, when I first talked to him, I felt
you whooped
sorry
his
for him,
ass.
so I held back. But yeah, but
You
it
whooped
wasn't
his ass.
hard.
You
It was
ding
it,
ding ding, you got him.
well, the thing about it is that's why I wanted to do it. Not to show how tough I am or how smart I am. People know who I am by listening to the podcast. I wanted to showcase just how stupid a Trumplefuck is. It's one thing for me to say they're stupid, but this shows you how stupid. I ask him simple questions. He doesn't know anything about anything. And I dare say that a lot of the Trumplefucks are right in line with this guy. This is how stupid they are, and we're allowing stupid people to lead us around in this country. And it's fucking frightening. We shouldn't
It
have a
is, yeah.
problem fighting these people. I mean, I didn't have a problem with this guy. I knew I wouldn't have a problem with this guy, and none of us should have a problem with any of
Yeah.
these motherfuckers.
A um a MAGA troglodyte or Trumplefuck or whatever term you want to use, going up against a reasonable, sensible person is like a Chihuahua going up against like a Doberman or a
Absolutely.
Great Dane. It's like they're gonna get thrown around like a hacky sack. It's just they're all just yip yip and then you just grab them by the neck, throw them into the wall. It's kind of sad, actually.
You know, a couple of things I've said before that if somebody, what I did with that kid, he's not a kid, he's 50 years old, he's a fucking dipshit. Um, but if somebody had done that to Donald
I love
Trump
that
in
you called him a
2016,
kid because he did think like one.
if somebody treated Donald Trump like that when he said crazy shit in 2016, he would have never been president. And that's why I hold the media
Exactly.
responsible.
Yeah. Oh, fuck the media, man. The media's gone. The media's toast.
It is.
Even without the threats of all the like, oh, he's going to shut down the media. Oh, he's going to do this and that. The media's already on life support and bleeding out on its own. Like he doesn't have to do shit. They're already done for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You,
Absolutely.
Joe Scarborough, man, Joe and Mika, fuck them. You know, they can go screw themselves. And that holds true also of just the rest of sort of media in general. Even even the I guess sort of adjacent-ish media that I would normally agree with, like Mother Jones, Daily KOS, Young Turks, all that crowd. I can't get behind Mother Jones and Daily KOS because they're like, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh, it's going to be dictatorship, military, martial law on day one. I can't do that. It's like, no, because we've been talking about with Will, the military is not going to go with that.
No.
The generals are already in meetings to say like, no, we're not going to do this, and they don't have to, they don't just have to do whatever he tells them to. And even if they did, yeah, maybe some people would go along with it, but the vast majority don't.
All we have to do is go back and look at 2017 to 2021. He was just as goofy. He talked about deportation. He talked about tariffs. He got some of the tariffs done. He failed miserably. But Donald Trump at his core is stupid and incompetent. The people he's putting in position are
It is.
stupid and incompetent. And the senators and the members of the House, there will be some that go along with him, but they're not
Yeah.
all going to jump off the bridge with him. And he needs them all.
Yeah, that's another thing. Two things to sort of ease people's minds a little bit because this is what it took to talk me off the ledge after November 5th. We got good news in the House and good news in the Senate. Now it's more of like okay news with a silver lining, really.
Yeah.
Now we know we lost our Senate majority. We have 53 to 47, I think. No, it's
Right.
52 because they're pulling out JD Vance because he's going to be the vice
Right.
president. Um, Now, I will say this. We would have been fucked, completely 100% fucked, if they had picked Rick Scott as Senate Majority Leader. We definitely
True.
would have been. But they didn't do that. They picked John Thune. And what do we know about John Thune? He is the closest thing to normal that a Republican can be. And what I mean by that is, yeah, he has some outdated and, out of touch opinions. He's well, to be perfectly honest, he's an old white dipshit, which is what,
Yeah.
it's true of most Republicans. But he doesn't like Donald Trump. He doesn't like MAGA. He is not in with that crowd. He does not like them.
Well, put it this way, if we were on a schoolyard and we were still young kids and I was just predisposed to beat the shit out of Republicans, he'd be low on the list of the guys I'd want to beat the shit out.
Yeah, he's more like just instead of the asshole totalitarian like everyone's got to wear the same color shirt as me or I'm giving you a black eye. He's more like the guys could we all just maybe consider wearing just matching socks for a day? Like
Yeah.
that's what I see. Sorry, it's
Yeah,
so fucking
he's
stupid.
he's as normal as we're going to get for a Republican, so I guess we should feel some
Yeah.
relief there.
Now,
And of
yeah.
course, we've got some protection with the filibuster too, as much as we hate the
Yeah, the
filibuster.
filibuster, yeah. I also have a thing to say in the House, and this is where I'm proud that my state actually kind of pulled through on this one.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we won, I want to say 3 seats in the House through California alone. They used to be
Right.
red seats. We flipped them. The most prominent ones were John Duarte. John Duarte, is it Duarte or Duarte? I don't fucking
That's
no fucking
Duarte,
care.
I think. Yeah.
He, he's a MAGA Republican. Fuck him. Um, anyway, he lost his seat to Adam Gray, who apparently he kicked out in a previous cycle. So there's, you know, revenge of the Gray, I guess. Um, that other girl, that other MAGA fuck Michelle Steele lost her seat as well. Derek
Right.
Tran, I think, got her seat.
That's
And then I
right.
think we had one more that I can't remember.
But we're at basically 220 to
Yeah,
215, but Donald
less than
Trump is
that.
pulling out three of them
Yeah, we
for
got
his
people pulling
cabinet.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, so we're at
that's not even accounting
217.
for deaths, potential defections, resignations, retirements if they just get too older. There's health problems or whatnot. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a whole lot of this ends up looking like a whole lot of nothing for the next couple of years because, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. There are some things Donald Trump can do, but he has limitations. Like, for example, the whole tariff thing. I've argued with
Yeah,
people and I say, tariffs have to go through Congress, and that is true. However, Donald Trump does have the ability to just sign a sheet of paper and there's a tariff, but it
only
only
for the
can
first couple months.
last
Yeah,
for up to 5 months. But if it's too damaging in that 5 month period, whether it be 2 days or 5 months, Congress can come in and will come in and decide whether or not to make it an actual
yeah.
tariff. So he could have
We
the
do.
potential to do some damage, but only short term.
Yeah. I Now there is a caveat to the whole house thing, and that is that that skin. What's the word? That is that turncoat little bastard, Jared Moskowitz.
Yeah,
That
tell me about
that
that. I didn't hear this. Everybody loved this guy.
he
Now they'll people mad at him.
well, he's blowing shit out of his ass about like he was like all thrilled about like Pete Hegseth as defense secretary. He was, saying like, "Oh, we got to work with MAGA now." He basically did a 180, and this is not like I don't think he was a sleeper Republican in the same way I think with Merrick Garland. I'll get to Merrick Garland, that fucking turtle, in a second, but um, Jared Moskowitz, I feel like he's not a sleeper Republican. He's just a fucking coward. And the reason why that is because I didn't understand, like, why are you doing this? And then I realized it came out apparently his name was on an assassination list of like things, like people that they were planning to assassinate. It's like, really? Really, dude? You're gonna fold that quickly? Somebody slapped your name on an arbitrary piece of paper and all of a sudden you do a full 180? Fuck you. Somebody ought to primary your ass.
Well, absolutely. That's the one thing about politicians, whether they be Democrat or Republican. That's why I don't identify as either. Um,
Yeah,
Many
I
of
may have
them,
to change my party and my party affiliation after this. Not And that's not even just because like, oh, I'm mad at the Democratic Party. It's like, you know, there have been people talking about like if they're going to go after people, they may use your voter registration to do it. So that, say what you will for the credibility of threats like that, but it's like it may just, I may just do that in protest. It's like until you get rid of the old guard and bring in people who actually know what the fuck they're doing, I'm gonna have to switch my registration.
yeah, yeah. Now, the whole thing about the threats and stuff. That's always people have said that to me. Well, they're going to come after you and sue you. Go ahead, sue me. I put everything that I own in my son's name and other people's
Good
name.
luck.
I got
I
nothing.
say good.
Fuck
I
you.
say to them, good luck finding you.
I might not be that hard to find, but here's the thing: in these circumstances, the people who help and save a country or save anybody are the people that can't be scared off. Because we're talking about bullies here. A lot of what they say and a lot of
Yeah.
what they do is bullshit. And if you fall
Paper
for the
tiger,
bullshit, they win. Yeah,
or in the words of Lady Gaga, paper gangster. They talk a lot
yeah.
of smack. They talk this big game, and then as soon as you push them, they just blow away immediately.
That's
Now,
exactly
yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Now,
It's
sorry.
no, go ahead.
Um, I did want to sort of put the thing on Cash Patel because I know a lot of people are worried about that. Like oh, he's made an enemies list. He's going to go after anyone who questions. Farron Cousins was making a big noise about this. It's like we're becoming Saudi Arabia. If you question the regime, you will be killed. It's like, no, dude, calm down. Hang on. That clown is never getting out of the Senate. And let me
No,
tell
no.
let me tell you why. Two reasons. One of them sucks, but it's true. Couple things here. For one thing, the 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 Republicans don't have that big of a majority in the Senate. Though they have a majority, it's not that big. And
No,
again, they're going to have a special election to replace JD Vance. And Eric was talking about this about a week ago. Special elections are weird. We have a chance to get a Democrat in there.
absolutely.
That's that's the first thing. Second thing, John Thune is Senate Majority Leader. And again, John Thune, he ain't MAGA. Or if he is, he's hiding it very well because, he's not a Trump fan. He doesn't like him. He's not a MAGA dude. He's not about that. That's Now I know I technically just gave two reasons, but here's a third one just because this one, God, this is so bad. But this is less of a like, oh, I'm a piece of shit because I like this, and more of an indicator of this is how fucked up things are right now. The third thing that's gonna keep Kash Patel from getting out of the Senate, fucking racism. And the
You're
reason I
right.
say that is because this dude is Indian and Republicans are notoriously racist. Normally I would hate
Yeah,
this. It's like racism sucks and it's a terrible thing. But when you are dealing with somebody as evil and insane as Kash Patel, you're just like, fuck. I mean, the enemy of my enemy is my friend for this one time, I guess. I mean, have you seen the way that guy looks in the photos?
yeah, he
He
looks
looks like a
nuts.
fucking skinwalker. He looks like some kind of, I don't know, flesh-eating demon wearing human skin. He looks inhuman.
He does look
He
inhuman. A lot of
he
them look
looks like
inhuman.
something wearing human skin. I look at that man, and behind those eyes I see nothing. There's just
Well,
nothing.
I think it's gonna be interesting when they start trying to get these people confirmed. I think there's gonna
Yeah,
be a
Pete
lot of
Hegseth,
people that don't
no.
get confirmed. No,
Yeah, Pete Hegseth, no. RFK Jr., fuck off. Tulsi Gabbard, definitely not after what happened with Assad in Syria. That's another
yeah,
thing. You know, say goodbye to your power, dude. You're done. You're fucked. You can
yeah,
seek
yeah,
asylum in Moscow all you like, but your numbers up. You're done.
yeah. Save a bunk for Donald Trump because he may have to head there at some point. Um, so you,
Save a conveniently placed window for Donald Trump.
so when we had the election, it was a total surprise to me. I thought I looked at every
God,
fact, figure, piece of data. There's no
I
way.
couldn't get up the next morning.
People would say
I had a
you're
hard time getting up the next
wrong,
morning.
and I go, there's no shame in being wrong, but I can't square it in my mind how I was wrong. And so
I don't hold it against you, Mike. Don't worry about it. I was also blindsided. I was totally like the way the numbers were going, the way the polls were going. Um, but the problem was we had a lot of people who lied in the polls, who said they were going to vote one way and then voted the other.
yeah,
We had that brain dead moron Joe Rogan come out and endorse Trump because that guy's a dipshit roid abusing incel. Let's just be straight about Joe Rogan. He's a creepy steroid abusing. He he really doesn't care if people are going to burn the government down. He just really hates the establishment. It's like what Will's been talking about. He hates the government because he thinks the government's out to get him,
yeah.
and it's not. It's like, no, dude, no one's out to get you. You're just a paranoid right wing libertarian. And well, there you are. Then he's a libertarian. He's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's all you have to know about libertarians is that really, when it boils
I
down to
think
it, they're all just a bunch of conspiracy theories who think the world hates them for some reason.
when I look at politicians and
Joe
people
Rogan.
in the media that are making a lot of money, um, you think they're working for you. You think they're helping you, but they're really helping themselves first. And whatever they have to do to help themselves, they will do. Like this Jared Moskowitz, whether he's terrified of getting assassinated or he just is a wimp.
Yeah,
People have no
he's in
integrity.
Florida, so there is that.
Yeah.
Florida,
Well, people
you're
have
fucked up.
who even wants to go there anymore? That's a fucked up place.
Yeah,
But
Florida is
there's
just
very little.
there's a reason there's a whole subreddit called r/Florida man of just all the insane things that come out of that absolute hellhole of a state.
Yeah, it's
Everybody loves to
unreal.
rag on everybody loves to rag on California, and a lot of those people are Floridians, and it's like Take a look in the fucking mirror, dude. You got
Yeah,
what?
no shit.
Gators, you're ground zero for every hurricane ever. Wildfires for half the year. You choose complete psychopaths for your politicians, except Jared Moskowitz, because he's a coward, but he's not a psycho.
Yeah.
It's about all you got is you got Disney World, and what is it, like low income tax or something? That's it. That's all you got. Everything else is just a complete fucking dumpster fire. Who
I
would
always
want
get
to
a
live
kick out
there?
of I get a kick out of people who say, well, they don't have state income tax, so I'm going to move there. Yeah, but they got fucking toll roads. They got all you end up paying the money anyway, whether you're
They've
paying
got
no income tax or high income tax for the state.
this pissed me off to high heaven. Ron DeSantis, this was when I think this was when I was in Denmark. Ron DeSantis put out a bill, and I guess it somehow got through, that allowed Floridian roads to be paved with, get this, people, toxic waste. I shit you not, they are paving the roads with toxic waste in Florida.
Wow.
Don't don't go to Florida, man. Hell is real, and it's called Florida. It's
Yeah.
And on top of all that, on top of all the, like, the gators, the terrible weather, the Florida's the lightning capital of the US, by the way. That's another thing I hope is, like, I was hoping up to this election is, like, Donald Trump goes out on a golfing course at Mar-a-Lago, and then he gets struck by lightning while he's out there. Then who are you going to blame for that? For your Lord and Savior
God.
being killed, huh? Are you going to blame God? You can't pin that one on the deep state, dudes. It's like, on top of all
So
this, the state is just sinking into the fucking ocean.
yeah.
Florida is going to be gone in the near future.
Well, people have talked about this, with the hurricanes hitting in the same spot and tearing places apart and then having to
I mean, unless he
rebuild
wants
it.
to do the Sharpie thing again, which doesn't work.
But the thing is, once these places keep getting hit and they keep rebuilding it and insurance keeps getting higher, eventually they're just not going to rebuild in these places. These cities that have been popular and people want to go there, it's not going to make any sense because the
Yeah, you're just
hurricanes are
going to
going to
have a
hit
bunch
every
of
three
fucking ghost
years.
towns.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
not just going to be just, there's going to be no, it's going to look like, if you ever get the chance, look at the documentaries, articles, they have, like, National Geographic magazines. Look at the stuff that was going on in Pripyat in Ukraine after Chernobyl, after the nuclear meltdown over there. They're completely abandoned, nobody left, vines everywhere, plants overgrowing everything, just nobody left because the radiation's too fucking high.
Yeah, yeah.
Go look that shit up, people. It's history, and it's modern day history as well. I know that's hard for some of you. Look it up.
Now, when you decided to go to Canada for college, was it because you just had it with what's going on in America? You were concerned or fearful about being in the United States as a young man, or you just wanted to go to Canada?
It was that initially. It was a lot of, like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. A couple of different things. First off, a part of it is expenses,
Yeah.
because if you're going to go out of state college, it's way more expensive. If you do it in the state, it's less so. I was kind of having a feeling after this, like, I can't stay here where I've been all my life. I'm gonna go nuts. I gotta go explore something new. Um, uh, there's also, like, I can't be in the States. I'm just tired of all the noise. What really turned me off, that set me onto, like, I gotta go to another country, was all the MAGA fucks blowing up on social media. Now, trigger warning to some of you people out here, this is some fucked up stuff. It this will make you feel sick. This is terrible what I'm about to say. This is not me saying that this is what I saw. Three main things. There's a bunch of people going around. The first thing was the your body, my choice people,
Right,
which,
right.
you fuck you. That How about how about, in the words of Tim Walz, how about you mind your own damn business? Anyone
Exactly,
who's spitting
exactly.
that bullshit. That's the first thing. Don't worry, it gets worse. That's the first thing. Bunch of people going around talking about how, God, this is so awful. People talking about how they're going to form rape squads to go after women. I mean, for one thing, good luck with that. except if it's in like isolated pockets in the South. But it's the thought that counts. And number three, and this is probably the worst one of all, most egregious shit of all, is that after the election, a bunch of people of color, it's like blue states, red states, wherever you want, got texts from anonymous sources
Right.
telling them to report to plantations for fucking slavery.
Yeah.
And I look at this shit and I'm like, so you're telling me I have to look at this bile that these so-called people are spewing. I'm supposed to look at the people that say this shit and be like, yeah, that these are my countrymen. These are my fellow Americans. Fuck no. Oh hell no. I'm not going to share a banner with that. Are you shitting me? I'm not
Yeah.
going to
No, I get that.
I'm not going to stand under the same flag as that. No fucking way.
I will tell you this though. I know some people from Canada because a lot of them listen to the show,
Yeah,
and
I do too.
that there is a MAGA issue in Canada too, in some places, not
I
as widespread as here, but
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. I'm not as concerned about that because, for one thing, Canada in general, say what you will about like the MAGA maples or whatever else, but Canada as a whole overall, for one thing, they don't discuss their. For one thing, politics is not just people screaming at each other, and it doesn't
right,
just sort of
right,
take
true.
over every aspect of their lives. Um, for another, Canada in general is overall much more to the left of the states are. Like their idea of a
It's a lovely
conservative is generally
place.
like, yeah, generally their idea of a conservative is somebody like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like that's, the MAGA folks would be fucked up in Canada. Like, people,
No,
nobody listen to them.
the thing about it is there are people in Canada and other countries around the world, maybe even in Europe where you were for a time. They were almost as terrified of Donald Trump winning as people in America were. People in other countries feel like there'll be a trickle down effect uh, in any number of ways, and making America a worse place or a less authoritative place in this country. I mean, a lot of people count on America to be there and be strong, so they don't have to deal with
Yeah.
some things, and they don't know what they're going to get with Donald Trump and America at this point.
Let me put this out here. This is another thing factoring into the Canada thing. First of all, I see a lot of people ragging on the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for going down and kiss the ring. Idiots! He went down there to talk to Donald Trump because Canada doesn't let fucking convicted felons in,
Yeah.
and plus all his assistants and the people in the Parliament, they all told him to do that. They told him that he should go, and he went and did it. And don't be fooled by Justin Trudeau. He may look like he's bending the knee or kissing the ring or what else. He's one of those folks that speaks softly and carries a big fucking stick. All right,
Oh,
he's got
and
he's got a big stick behind his back.
it's a much different situation. If people want to make the comparison of Justin Trudeau going down to talk to Donald Trump and Mika and Joe going, there is no comparison. Mika and Joe are part
Oh
of the
no, of
media.
course not.
They were kissing the ring. Justin Trudeau just heard that Donald Trump wants to put a 25% tariff on his country.
Yeah,
He's the
good
leader
luck
of the
with that.
country. He should
Good
need
luck
to
with that,
talk
dude.
to this guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
think that's going to happen.
Here's another thing, that so-called joke about like, oh, if you can't pay the tariffs, we need to annex. We're going to annex Canada to the 51st state. Not going to fucking happen, dude.
Now,
First
now,
off, the logistics aren't there. The logistics aren't there. The terrain, the climate, the Canadian people, those are all going to fuck you over. The Canadian people are sure as hell not going to take that. They're not going to stand for that.
right.
Canada is part of the fucking Commonwealth, and they're part of NATO. You try to invade Canada, you're going to war with NATO. And
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. It's like, oh, it's us and Russia versus NATO. NATO loses. It's like, no, Russia's military has been destroyed fighting in Ukraine. They're not
Yeah.
going to be able to take on NATO. Are you kidding me?
Now,
It's
absolutely.
Yeah, but for all the things, you're not going to have enough military support to do that, because enough of the military has a feeling of brotherhood that like they're not going to want to go against Canada for the same reason that you don't just turn around and punch your best friend after 5 years of a good relationship.
Absolutely.
It's like
Absolutely. The thing about Donald Trump, I think people have to understand, he makes a statement, and everybody goes, oh no, clutch my pearls, wring my hands.
Yeah,
That means
he
it's going
just
to happen. Donald Trump is a bully. He says the most outrageous thing until you back down. And if that doesn't get you to back down, he says something else. He just pulls shit out of his ass. He isn't going to
oh
follow
yeah,
through with most of this
yeah.
shit.
Um, Donald Trump's entire life and career up to this point has been a dick measuring contest with the rest of the world
Absolutely.
because he sees his dead father in them.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's dad was an absolute monster. I mean, just total sociopath. He was in the KKK. He was a fucking tyrant to his family. He horribly abused all of his kids to the point that they all have issues decades and decades. Well, those that their descendants have issues actually, because the kids themselves, all but one of them are dead now.
Yeah.
Um, and the only one that's still around is broken so badly that just everywhere he goes, he always has to one up everybody because in his mind, he's one upping his dad.
Right.
He's never gotten over that. His whole life has always been about getting back at his dad for being a dick to him.
Or trying to prove to his dad that he's smarter than because his dad looked at him as a dipshit. His mom looked at him as a dipshit. His older brother, who was kind of the star or the star of the family, he ends up dying because he's an alcoholic and commits suicide. So, or
Yeah,
maybe
and then
died
it's like
of
you should have
alcoholism.
there's like a you yeah, and then they abuse Donnie further because it's like you should have died instead. You know, typical fucked up, golden child passes away behavior.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, for
Um
as big an animal as his dad was, I tend to agree with him on that one. He should have been the one that bought it, not his brother, because his brother seemed relatively normal.
yeah. Now, yeah, I agree. Somebody really should have people have been talking about the orange one as a Trojan horse for Russia, and I'm thinking to myself, why didn't somebody give old Fred a Trojan
Yeah.
all
No
those
shit.
years
No shit.
ago?
Well, what do you think
As a
about that?
condom joke
People
for those without you there didn't get that.
people talk about Tulsi Gabbard as being a Russian asset, and I think Donald Trump is a Russian asset,
No,
but not
I
in
was
the
talking about Donald Trump, but her too. Yeah.
yeah, Donald Trump is a Russian asset, but I don't think Donald Trump is a Russian asset in the traditional sense. Donald Trump's not smart enough to be any asset for anybody, but he is a usable fool. He's easily
He's a useful
manipulated.
idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. And that's pretty much what Vladimir Putin is doing to him.
Yeah, I said before the break or in between during the break really, I wanted to
Yeah,
talk about like Canada and why I
right.
chose that. A big reason, like above and beyond a lot of the other stuff, Donald Trump is already being a dick to the Prime Minister of Canada. The MAGA fucks are like, oh, we should annex Canada. Oh, we should cut off when they say America first, they really just mean America only.
Right,
They want there to only be America and nothing else.
right.
And so it's like the the reason why I'm doing like to not only like say like, oh, I support Canada, but to be like, I am packing up and moving there, whatever social or economic issues they're having, just to give you the middle finger is the best way to give the middle finger to Donald Trump, MAGA, and just the general right that I can. But
No,
it's not
one
just
of the
about
things,
that. That's a big part of it.
yeah, what Donald Trump is doing is typical of a narcissist. It's either the worst or the best. I'm the biggest, I'm the strongest, I'm the toughest. And they look at America being the
Well, he is the
best,
fucking
most
worst.
powerful.
That's
Yeah.
deep
But
down he
but he
knows that.
looks at
Deep down he
he
has to
looks
know
at
that.
he looks at America as the biggest, best place. So if you go there and say, well, if you can't handle the tariffs, you might as well just join us, thinking that everybody would just jump on board because of course they all want to be part of America. The fact of the matter is America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. We have a
No,
lot of issues, largely due to Donald Trump and Republicans, and this isn't the cool place to be anymore.
no, it isn't. And that's the one exception I would say is maybe the blue states. That was another thing.
Yeah,
People were people were talking about how it's like, oh, we should, annex Canada, 51st state. fuck that shit. There's been a much louder counter proposal that's like, how about how about first of all, no, go fuck yourself. Why don't we secede from you because you've lost your fucking minds and we join Canada instead? It's like, remember
Well, there's an easier way to do that without seceding,
the
and that would
Cascadia
be
thing? Yeah.
well that would be that the blue states are donor states, the red states are taker states, and if the blue
Yeah,
states
that
said
we
we're not
process
sending any
taxes.
more
Yeah.
federal government any more money and let you fuckers die in the vine, they could do that.
Honestly, I would kind of I would, I would kind of support that.
I would
I
too.
have to I have to say this about the you have to remember, first of all, there was that plan from the 60s of like Cascadia where California, Oregon, Washington, and the province of British Columbia. I don't think Alaska was included because, well, Alaska is a whole other fucking country basically, but
Yeah, yeah,
uh those four would have formed their own sort of mini NATO. Not like a military alliance, but definitely like a trade alliance to help each other out. And like one, if California gets hit by wildfires, or you know Vancouver gets hit by a bomb cyclone, we'll send funds to each other to help each other out. There's talk of bringing that back now. There's been a lot like now you definitely remember this because this was like more in in your you know I don't want to say in your prime, but this is definitely like you definitely remember this. There's a lot of resurgence of the old Jesus land maps where the that were going around after Bush won in 2004, which
right.
I said hello to the year in 2004, so there's that.
Yeah,
Um, uh, where the blue states secede and join Canada, become the United States of Canada, and everything else is this Jesus land. And
yeah.
honestly, I don't know. I might go for that. That there proposals, conspiracy theories, geopolitical fantasies aside. I want to sort of wind that down and get into like the Canada stuff, and like while the fact that like I'm aware of the issues that they have and why they don't matter. So if before we do that you have anything else to say or thoughts to provide, anything at all, let's get in that.
Well, no, no, this what we do here is we do whatever we do. So feel free to say whatever you want in
Yeah.
whatever order we want.
Now I've heard a lot of there's Canadian people and American people as well. It's like I've had some people in messages like they're from Canada. Some people have been saying like, "Oh, don't come up here to Canada. You won't want to. The economy sucks. Everything's overpriced. Nobody can afford to buy anything. People can't afford to live." And it's like, have you seen the fucking red states? And it's like,
Yeah,
it can't. You guys can't have it any worse than here. And what frustrates me is I know for a fact that anyone who's saying this has to be, you know, an out of touch suburb rich kid who expects to see gentrified, you know, shining city on a hill wherever they go. It's like,
yeah,
no, cities everywhere are ugly. They have problems. Some people can't afford homes. Some other people have mental health issues, which again, you can thank fucking Reagan for that now, because we had a system to deal with that, and then he threw it out because, oh, we couldn't afford it. Fuck you, dude. All you cared about was robbing the country blind and lining your pockets and the pockets of your corporate donors. I
absolutely,
hope I hope
absolutely.
you rot in hell, dude. Not you,
Well, there's
fucking
probably no.
Reagan.
I know, I
That
know,
guy
no,
was a
I know,
dipshit.
I know, I know. but don't you think we're going to see a natural occurrence with red states? I mean, with this abortion ban and people having to deal with what's going on in those red states, people dying,
No one's
they're
going to
going to
want to
have
live in the red
finite.
state. No one's going to want
That's
to
what I'm
live in the red
saying.
states pretty soon.
Are we
And
going
their
to see an
fucked up
exodus?
governors.
Are we going to see an exodus from the red states? I have a
Yeah,
feeling we might.
people are people are making jokes about the California exodus, like, oh, people are moving out of California because it's not affordable anymore, or because the libs have taken it over and turned it into a commie socialist state. First of all, fuck you. The state is awesome, and we always have been. Well, except for when we voted for Reagan. That's the biggest shame out
Yeah,
of. Will never understand how a state like California could ever vote Republican. But
but that was 45 years ago. So
that's true.
different world,
First of all,
different world.
First of all, fuck you. We're one of the coolest states out there. Second of all, how's that looking now? Pretty soon, your guys are going to be going, "Let us back in, please. We love you." And it's like that old Watchmen quote, the thing from the movie Watchmen, or the comic books as well. These people are going
Yeah.
to be looking up. Rorschach says these people are going to be looking up at me to say, "Help us, save us," and I'll look back it down and whisper, "No, just no. You're on your own."
What I
And
what
I'm
I
feeling a
don't
lot that way now.
what I don't understand is you've got people moving out of California because taxes or whatever reason they are, but they're moving to
Good
Arizona
fucking
and
riddance.
fucking
Don't let the
or
door hit you on
fucking
the way out.
Texas. Like Joe Rogan wants to moves to Austin, Texas. If I'm
He
going to
already
move
is there.
someplace, it's not Texas. Fucking Texas is a shithole too.
You guys reelected fucking Ted Cruz.
And Greg
I mean,
Abbott.
and Greg, one of the guys from the a couple guys from the states that were at IPC in Denmark were from Texas, and one of them was he wasn't he wasn't trans or gay or anything, but he was a cross dresser. Like he liked to wear makeup and he would sometimes wear a dress.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of there, dude. Like he wasn't really that patriotic about the state, but he was from there.
Yeah.
Nice dude. And all I can say is get out of there, dude. They're gonna, if they do decide to do kill squads, it's gonna happen in Texas. Maybe not anywhere else, but Texas might try it.
Yeah. What
Um,
one of the things I said was that everybody was worried about Donald Trump losing and there being a civil war. I'm tending to think that there's more chance for violence now that Donald Trump has won because so many people are
yeah,
terrified about what's
yeah,
going
that's
on.
definitely
And the shooting of the CEO might have been a precursor to people's attitudes. I mean, we found out a lot about people when that CEO got shot and everybody goes, "Great, good job."
yeah.
That gives you a tone of what this country's thinking.
Funny you should say that. Ben Shapiro, right wing dipshit. He's in the family of like Charlie Kirk and all that. Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes. Those Nick Fuentes had something else happened to that piece of shit. But Ben Shapiro went out putting out this thing on. It's like he was blaming the left for all this stuff about like this guy that got shot, and it's like, did you see he got ripped to fucking shreds in the comments? People, I mean, just
Yeah,
people
he
just
did.
raking him over the coals. Just, hey Ben, this isn't just a left issue. Folks on the right are sick of this shit as well. I mean, he got lambasted for real there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's
and then like I said before, Nick Fuentes, that piece of shit. Um, the one who put out the "Your Body, My Choice." Well, apparently he got into an altercation of that sort of nature. He got arrested and he's going to fucking jail.
yeah. Somebody
And
knocked on his door and he sprayed her with pepper spray and damned, you can't do that
yeah,
just willy nilly.
yeah, and knowing the kind of guy that he is, the whiner, weak ass, you know, the term you like to use, the pussy ass bitch that this guy is in general with like folks on the far right and all that. Oh, Nikki, the icebox is not going to be kind to you.
No.
I mean, you are not in you're like Will was saying with Harvey Weinstein, how he's got that bone cancer, the afterlife will not be kind to you. Oh, Nikki, you are gonna be begging to be let out of there or for someone to kill you. Because have you seen what they do in prison to rapists and pedophiles and people, even just people who say that shit?
Yeah.
They like shove fucking broom handles up your ass until you're dead. It's like it's it's fucking brutal. And you're
Well, it is
being put right
brutal.
in the middle of that now.
Yeah. I,
Yeah. Anyway, that
you
that
know,
whole unpleasantness aside, this shit riles me up, man. Like I said before in the email, I was fired up. This is what I mean by that.
well, I know you said that, and that's why I was anxious to get you on because we know how Will gets, we know how Old Soul gets from time to time, and it says a lot, And I kind of like the fact that people are riled up about this stuff. One of the reasons we are where we are is because people were apathetic for decades and decades, and now people are riled up, and that's a good
I
sign.
wasn't
That
that
means there'll be
apathetic.
some pushback.
Even when I was, I want to say I was 8 years old in 2012 when Obama won re-election.
Yeah,
I didn't know this at the time, but apparently he bombed so bad after his first debate that people said, "Oh, it's over. Romney's going to win. Romney's going to win."
yeah,
And then Romney, of course, got fucking toasted in the actual election. Same thing with John McCain. in well, not same thing with John McCain because John McCain, John McCain is the only Republican I would ever vote for in a presidential election. Say what you will about his policies. Apparently, looking into the beliefs and policies that he was a fucking maverick. I mean, he was so far left, he was almost a Democrat.
Yeah. Well,
That guy had
at this point,
class, he had culture, he had character. He knew when to stand down, when to be sensible, when to stand his ground. He had ethics, he had principles, he had morals. And
do you think we have
and
any
it was
Republicans
yeah,
now in Congress that are close to that? Do you think anybody in the Republican Party in Congress, Senate, or the House have
fuck, I
integrity?
don't know. I don't know. I'm disinclined to think so. But if I had to say one that might, mind you, I said might. We don't really know that much about him.
Yeah,
That one that might be John Thune. But we don't
possibly.
really, again, we don't know much about him. Um, Now I did want to put this out there. Big reason for like not even necessarily the Canada thing, but like the leaving the country thing. There's another thing that dived in. A lot of the shift to the right had to like the people talking about like the misogyny and the racism thing.
Mhm.
A lot of it, there was a lot of incel sentiment among the people that voted for the right. And this, what I'm about to say, is going to be unpleasant. It's going to be nasty. You're not going to like it. But this is me saying this because I've come to realize it. Not that I support it or endorse it. I don't. I hate it. I mean, hell, I'm running for the fucking hills because of it. It's take, brace yourselves. This is gross. This is nasty. What I've learned about these people that went for the right because of these reasons, they want a fucking rape pass. They want
Yeah.
carte blanche to us. They want carte. They think that by voting for Donald Trump, he will give them a card and they will be able to just have any woman they want, whether they like it or not. That is what they want. They want to have carte blanche to just assault women and get away with it.
Do you think this is just small factions of people that are just trying to
I
own
think
the
yeah,
libtards, or do you think they really
there
mean it?
is. I think it's complicated. I think it's a bit of both. Like there are some people who are serious about it, but there's also some people who are just, you know, putting the big scary paper mask on, and then as soon as you blow it, it flies off. There's a certain amount of that. Um, what's most important to me is it's the thought that counts. If any about, I know, after Bush won. Well, this wasn't after Bush won, but it was after 9/11. It was before Bush won re-election. In 2004, Green Day released a song called American Idiot.
Right.
And I gotta tell you, I fucking love that song because it's everywhere I am in life. I look
I tend
around
to
and I'm like,
agree.
it, I'm just like, what the heck? This country's gone insane. We've lost it. We've lost our minds.
Well, I've said this after Donald Trump won the first time around in 2016 or 2007, 2016. I said I was taken aback by just how many stupid people were in this country. And I was very surprised by that. And then 2024 came along and I realized it's fucking worse. There are
It
more
is.
stupid people. I
People
mean,
people are comparing
didn't
this
you
to people. Yeah,
well
people are comparing this to
didn't you
idiocracy. It's like
yeah, and that's crazy. Idiocracy is absolutely a good comparison. But
it's
for the
not.
life of me,
Idiocracy is optimistic. This is worse. I mean,
I thought overturning Roe v. Wade would be the shoe in to lose the election.
I did
But
too.
apparently nobody
I did
cares.
too. No, it's all about this. It's all about the fucking pocketbook. It's about money or people wanting to have the right to own women as sex slaves. It's fucking appalling.
That's when things are going to get violent if some people think they can actually do that. But
Oh yeah, no,
when I was
you're not
talking,
going to get away with that. I mean,
no, 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 no.
women. You married a woman, and they will rip you to fucking shreds, dude.
Yeah, you do something to my granddaughter, you don't have to worry about me. I'm just going to take what's left over, and there ain't going to be much after grandma gets
Yeah, no,
in their shit.
you guys are toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Right in the Canada thing, there were people talking about. There's some people that are like, "Oh, don't come up here. The economy sucks. Nobody can afford anything up there." first off, it can't be worse than down here, and second of all, I don't fucking care. Give me whatever issues you want. I will overcome. I will strive to be worthy of that permanent residence pass and then that citizenship card. I will strive to be
So,
worthy of that.
so you want to move to Canada and stay there. You don't want to sit, see how things work out, and then come back?
Not quite. I want to go to college in Canada, get a work permit. I at least want to stay there until, because Donald Trump's not going to make it 4 years. Let's face it, people. He's not going to make it. He looks
Yeah,
like death
yeah.
warmed up. He's going to be toast. I want to sit out the Trump Vance thing. And then, depending on what happens after that, I will consider coming back. But for now, I want to get out, see what it's like from afar, and to put it this simply, I will come back if there's something to come back to.
Well, that's a good point. And when you've written your emails to me, you basically said you can call me a pussy ass bitch, but I'm going to Canada. But you have to understand how I look at this. It's not that that's the case with everybody. It's the people like my
Yeah.
age or maybe a little older that have established lives. You got to fight for
Oh
what you
yeah,
got.
yeah,
You're just starting your life. And I look at what you're doing as I just want a fucking shot. And you're not sure you're going to get the shot here. So you got to go where
yeah.
that
No,
shot is going to be available.
even
And
if
you
I
will have the shot in Canada.
even if I do, I'm just sick and tired of all the noise, the insanity, the hate.
Yeah,
I've had it up to here with that shit, and I don't want to be around that anymore.
I
And
got you.
yeah, here's the thing about the Canada thing. There's been other Canadians who've said like, "Oh, don't come up here. We don't want you Americans bringing your issues with you." It's like, fuck, I'm coming up there to get away from the issues, dude. So that, yeah, there's
Yeah.
that. Now, granted, these people are fringe. These are the fringe folks. The vast majority of Canadians out there in the chat have been seeing either one of two things. They've been either saying, "Oh, we feel terrible for you. Good luck because you're going to need it. We're praying for you." The other half have been saying, "Come on up. We'll get you in the back."
Yeah. Well, there are people in Canada are fearful about uh, the aftermath or the blowback from what happens here in Canada. What do you see? How is it going to affect Canada? If things go south here with Donald
Well,
Trump.
I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad because as much as Canada trades with the US, we are not the only country in the world. They have other trading options and things that they could do. They're also pretty self-sufficient. I got to tell you, now quick bit of Canadian politics for those of you out there. I know this is important. Now, Canada has a parliamentary system. All right, they have multiple parties. They have a parliament that elects a prime minister, and that's another thing I'm going to get to in a second. The one of the sort of like it's not quite like a big party. It's enough to have official party status, unlike like the Greens and the Canadian People's Party, which the Canadian People's Party is basically the Canadian equivalent of MAGA. That thing is fucking dead. They have like one seat at best on average. Like they have no voice or ability to do anything at all. Period.
Okay,
Um, anyone who's conservative in Canada is voting for the Conservative Party, and that's more like the Democrats we have here,
gotcha,
or
gotcha.
like more centrist. A big, well, it's not, again, like I said, it's not big, but it's enough to have a legitimate party status. Is the Bloc Québécois? Or it looks like, for those of you who don't know how that's spelled, it's Bloc Québécois. If you're trying to like look at it on paper, and what they are is basically they are a political party primarily based out of. Did I say primarily? I don't know what the fuck. I have
I
ADHD,
know
so I
what you
fuck my
meant.
words up all the time. Primarily based out of Quebec, and their whole shtick has been they've been trying to get Quebec the ability to secede from Canada. Good luck, guys. After that, you're not getting that after this. You weren't going to be able to get that anyway because Quebec isn't self-sufficient. Doesn't have the ability to sustain itself,
No,
and it's like there's all that. But um, anyway, regarding Canada, there's been talks about like, oh, Justin Trudeau is done for. He and his party are down in the polls. Um, this they're talking about it like he's basically a MAGA fuck. Pierre Poilievre. His name in French means basically Peter hair because Poilievre means hair, and then or whatever the last French word is. It means hair as well. So he's basically Peter Hair Hair. Who the fuck named you, dude? I don't know. But anyway, the point is he's basically apparently he's a populist. Supposedly he's a demagogue. He's a well he's a demagogue only in the sense that he's more economically right wing than anything. But apparently there's like talks about like he's anti-abortion. Good luck to on trying to do that, dude. Canadians are not going to go for that.
Yeah.
Um, Also the thing about Pierre Poilievre is people saying like, oh, he's a Trump humper. He's going to kiss up to Donald Trump if he gets in. He's going to, if he gets in, he's going to invade. Trump. He's going to invite Trump to invade Canada. Okay, couple things there. For one thing, when you vote in a prime minister in a parliamentary government, that's pretty impermanent. Generally, you need an agreement with another party to stay in power if you have a minority government. If you're in a majority, people may cross the aisle to vote to, caucus with the opposite party. People have resignations again. Anyway, point being is if at any point whatever party's in power can't secure a majority, the government collapses and there's a snap election.
Right.
So if Pierre Poilievre does anything fucked up enough that whatever parties he's forming agreements with or his own party decides to do a no confidence vote, government collapses, snap election, and he's out of there.
Right.
And there's another thing. People are talking about like, oh, he'd invite Trump to invade Canada. You want to talk about political suicide. If he tried to do that, his own party would vote to throw him out then and there.
Here's the
Because
thing:
Canadians will not give up their country.
the whole talk of America invading Canada or Mexico, that's just so absurd. That's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to.
No,
It's
it's
just
not.
Donald Trump talking shit.
Nothing's. It doesn't make sense.
It's not going to happen. It's Donald Trump can't get anything together to put together a fucking wall or an infrastructure deal. He's not going to accomplish much. This is the essence of who Donald Trump and any bully is. I'm going to say the worst things to you, and hopefully you believe me, and hopefully you'll demur, and I will win because I scared you. That was the whole point of going to Mexico. That's the
Yeah.
scam he tried to pull off. He went down there, says, I'm going to put a tariff on it. He goes and talks to this Scheinbaum, the president of Mexico, comes back and said, hey, we come to terms. She agreed to everything we're going to do. And then he was going to say, well, we don't probably have to do the tariffs now because she's already doing what we want her to do. Because all I was trying to do was bully her. Then she said, yeah, nothing's really changed. She
Ooh,
called him
Donnie,
out.
you
She
got
called
your
him
ass
out.
kicked by a woman. You know that fucking hurts.
A Hispanic woman.
A Hispanic woman at that, exactly. Um, you were trying to, God, forgive me for using this analogy. You were trying to pin her to the bed. She made you her bitch.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely did. Everybody makes Donald Trump his bitch. It's just that they let him, like the media, they could make him their bitch every fucking day, but they let him go. And this is what Donald Trump's done his whole life. He fucks up, somebody bails him out, they forgive him and let him go off and fuck up for another day. This has gone on all his life. And if somebody would
Oh
have held
yeah.
him accountable from the beginning in 2016, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this. I mean, I've been wholly disappointed by our Congress and by our DOJ. We always assumed that
Oh
they
yeah.
had some powers and some abilities. They have no teeth. None of them
I
have any teeth.
It's not even that they don't have any teeth. One at least has teeth, but it's in the wrong fucking direction. This brings me back
Yeah.
to what I was going to say earlier. Merrick Garland. Merrick fucking Garland. I got to tell you this. People have been talking about how Merrick Garland is like, oh, he's a coward or oh, he's slow walking everything because they don't want to look political. No, he is in cahoots with them. And you
You
want to
think
know why
so?
I know that? You want to know why I
No,
know that? Well, apparently he's part of the Federalist Society.
I do know
He's
that. Yeah.
also he's a Republican. We've known about this for a while. You want to know why Obama picked Merrick Garland to be on the Supreme Court back in the day?
I think I know.
Because he thought Mitch McConnell would go for that.
Yeah. Yeah. He thought it would be an
Mitch
easier
McConnell, of course,
sell.
saying like, "Oh, we can't let any of the black man's nominees get through, so we're gonna." I'm not gonna do that Southern accent. It makes me feel like I kicked a puppy. I'm to use
I
your
kicked
words.
I kicked the hell out of a puppy yesterday, and I feel goddamn good about it.
No, you didn't kick a puppy. What you did was you you kicked a little asshole teacup chihuahua biting at the back of somebody's shoe.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you picked him up and threw him around, and he was still just and then we got to be careful. Someone's gonna think we abuse dogs.
I love dogs. I love most dogs better than
Um,
most
I
people.
didn't I
Uh,
didn't care for dogs much as a kid because they would bark and it would scare me. But I do like dogs. I'm scared of them a little bit, but I do like them.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing about
Uh,
it is what do you see happen? If you're going to Canada, that's cool. Get your education, figure out your life, and do what you're going to do. You got to do what's best for you. But what do you see happening over the next 4 years, knowing that Donald Trump won't be there probably for 4 years? What's your prediction as to how this is all going to play out?
Here's my predictions. Let's start with Canada, just because we there's some concerns there I got to get out of the way. Pierre Poilievre, Peter Hair Hair. I'll just call him Peter Hair Hair because I feel like you know butchering your name. Fuck you. You're a dipshit. I don't care. Um, Peter Hair Hair may win the next election. He may be prime minister. I don't see him lasting that long if he tries to do all the fucked up shit they're saying he's going to do, because people are the government can host a vote to throw him out. His own party may do that if he starts blowing shit everywhere about U.S. should invade Canada. You do that, Pierre, you're going to get thrown out on your ass by your own party. I'm just saying that. Um,
Yeah,
I think Canada has a much easier way to course correct than we do. First off, also they're more to the left of us than we are. Canadians are less. Canadians are more. You watch Canadian political debates and people discussing politics in Canada. It's so fucking refreshing. People aren't just screaming at each other; they're discussing things in polite company. And I just see that and I'm like, this is what I've been craving.
yeah,
And it's so yeah. I don't. I think Canada is going to go through a bit of a rough time, but then again, on a certain level, I see there being a rally around the flag effect for Trudeau. In all honesty, Trump getting elected may have actually helped Trudeau because he handled Trump last time and did it pretty well. So
yeah.
there is that. Um, Pierre Polyev talks a lot of big smack, but he doesn't really seem to do much. So there is that. Um, Even if he does get in, I don't think it would affect me much because my path is I'm going to major in English and I'm going to major in biology. And my plan is once I'm done with education is to go to get a permanent residency work permit. I'm going to try and go into the healthcare sector, or I'm actually probably going into med school after that. Actually,
Okay,
my ultimate plan is to go into the medical sector. Pathologist, microbiologist, doctor, nurse, veterinarian, maybe, who knows, and then be an author, writer. Won't be silent liberal. Stirring the shit from the sidelines on the side.
gotcha, gotcha.
But if you're publishing under a Canadian label, people are a lot less likely to go after you. Um, and I'm not that concerned about that, but I'd like to insulate myself as much as possible because I just don't have the patience for the energy or patience for the energy. God Almighty. Now they got me fucking doing it. Now I'm dumb. Um, I
The
don't have the
health
patience or the energy for this nonsense anymore.
the health sector in Canada is a much different situation
Yeah.
than it is
They
here.
have a lot more need of people, so I'm told, which is why I chose that because they people are the Canadian immigration system is a lot friendlier to people in the healthcare sector or people who are graduating from universities in Canada. And I know there's been people talking about like, oh, there's an anti-immigrant sentiment. Oh, they're cutting down the amount of immigrants. It's like they're maybe cutting down the amount of immigrants from what is it, 500,000 to 390, 350,
Yeah.
390 something thousand. And also most of the anti-immigrant sentiment in Canada, if there is any, is mainly towards folks from India and third world countries.
Okay.
Now, I hate having to take this stance, but you know, it sucks that it's that way, and I feel bad for everyone who's getting turned back because they want a fresh start, and people think, people don't like that in Canada, but I don't think that affects me that much because, like, look at me. Do I look like a potential terrorist, or
No.
what these people think might be like, I don't know, a freeloader from a third world country. This is not me. This is like what people think. It's like, do I look like that? No, no, I don't. I look like a guy who's there to do his job and not step on anybody's toes, which is exactly what I'm hoping to do.
Right, right. And it'd be nice if more people decided to do that in this country. We've got
Yeah.
we've got some shit we're going to go through, and one of the things I
Oh yeah.
envy you about
Yeah.
is that I thought when Kamala got elected that we'd be able to start back on the track and get things straightened out. The thing that's most frustrating to me is what has really been done. You can think of all the terrible things that Donald Trump might do. I think more
What?
importantly, that for the next 4 years, nothing's going to get done.
Yeah. For the next
Congress
four
is going
years,
to
we're
be
going to be in
jammed
fucking
up.
stasis. The
Yeah,
next 4 years,
we're
we're
not
going
going
to
to.
be in just complete stasis. Nothing's going to improve. The good news is, a lot is going to. I don't think a lot is going to uh, backslide because we do have a near majority in the House. John Thune is in the Senate, so there is that. There's going to be a whole lot of nothing burger, and I feel like once 2026 comes around, I mean, it's like what they talked about after the disaster in 2004 of like Bush's policies and how they wrecked the economy and all that.
Mhm.
The midterms were an electoral fucking bloodbath for the right back then, and I don't see how they aren't this time either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's all about money and how the cost of eggs and gas, this is going to be a bad time for the Republicans.
Yeah,
But the reason it frustrates me is when you're 20 years old, 4 years, not a big deal. You could ride that out. When you're 64 years old, and then I'm going to be 68, I'm getting fucking anxious. I want to get this shit straightened out
I mean,
before I cash it in.
I'm considering going to a college in the universities of either Edmonton or Calgary because I've heard that Alberta, the province of Alberta, is very friendly to immigrants. Because a lot of the what I found is a lot of the immigration control is handled by the provinces. So depending on where you go, you can get more or less points depending on who you are, where you come from, that whole thing. Apparently, Calgary also has a pretty sizable American community. So, people, if you're American, you go there, there's a community of people who might be willing to, lend you a hand, help you out. But anyway, if I'm in
How do
like
you
the University of Calgary up there, that's not very far from Minnesota. So, if things do
no?
get bad for us, like maybe hold the door open for you. We got a
Well,
place for you up here.
And Minnesota's not a bad place in terms of being a blue state. Governor Walz, and he's
Oh
done some
yeah.
amazing things here. He's done the things in Minnesota that we'd hope would be done in
This
this country.
this pissed me off about it's not about Tim Walz, but about somebody's response to Tim Walz. Joe Rogan, that motherfucking shit for brains, roid using incel. You want to know why he got involved in the election? Because he thought Tim Walz was a liar.
Yeah,
Really, motherfucker. You back Donald motherfucking Trump, the biggest liar in history, period. And
yeah.
you're going off on Tim Walz because what? He got some details wrong about his military service, or something he was in China, something Tiananmen Square bullshit. And your response to that is to back the guy who told over 30,000 lies while he was in office? Fuck you, Joe Rogan. Fuck
Joe
you, you
Rogan,
shit for brains asshole.
Joe
Fuck you,
Rogan once
dude.
said that he's nothing more than a dumbass, and I have to concur with that. He is a
Yeah.
dumbass.
Well,
He's just a bro doing a podcast who got popular with other bros, and to be honest with you, I think his show is diminished a lot since he got this money from Spotify. Not surprising. Once you're working for the man tells you what to
it goes
fucking
to your
do and what
head.
not to do.
Goes to your
Yeah,
head. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
I also want to say this. People are asking me like, well, if you're having all these cultural issues and stuff, why aren't you going to England or Denmark or any of that thing? I don't want to be that close to Russia because fuck
Good
Putin
point.
for real. For one
Yeah.
thing. For another, Canada's culture is close enough. It's not close, but it's close enough to that of the States that I would feel like I would be able to assimilate and integrate without sticking up out like a sore thumb the way I would everywhere else.
How do your parents feel about this?
Um, they're in favor of it. I do. They want me to. The ball is the indications are like the ball is kind of in my court. Like I gotta like walk the walk, talk the talk, play the game, all that. Like I gotta be willing to, you know, walk the line, as it were, do the work, all this shit. I appreciate that. My dad's likes it because my dad traveled all over. My dad visited like over a dozen countries during his high school and college years alone. Like my dad is a very
Yeah.
fervent traveler. He's been all over the place, Australia, um, Italy. He's been to all sorts of different places. Wanted me to have like the abroad experience. Also, I'm a big fan of cold weather, so that's a big
Wow.
thing. Yeah,
That's
because
fucked up. I live in Minnesota. I'm not a fan.
you wouldn't think. I don't want to say you want to trade places because I don't know about being in Minnesota, but as nice as a state as it is, I don't think I would get along very well there. Um, here's my thing. Even though I'm Californian, it's this is weird. In my family, everyone that I know is really into beachfront island vacations, like tropical stuff. So they got those little drinks with like it's like the coconut the coconut
Right.
drinks with like the little paper umbrellas and all that, lying in a cabana on the beach. I look at that and I'm like, you know, technically speaking, we live down the road from SoCal, right? And that's just all of that.
Yeah.
We live next to we hell, we live next to Bodega Bay and the Pacific Coast. We live near that. Like, I mean, I don't want to rain on anybody's parade or yuck on anyone's yum, as my mom likes to call it, but I don't really like tropical beach island vacations because that's my life already.
Yeah.
Now, you want to know what we don't have here, what I didn't see for most of my life? Snow. I didn't get to build snowmen when I was a kid. I didn't get to build snow forts. I didn't get to throw snowballs. And the few times that I did, it was because we went up to the Sierra Nevadas on the California Nevada border, Lake Tahoe. That snow up there in the wintertime, sure, but we don't get it down here. And when we do get it, it's like, you know, a pico, those ridiculous physicist level divisions of an inch that melts by the end of the morning.
Well, be careful what you ask for. We have a listener who's been on the show as a moderator on lives. In fact, I was just texting with him a moment ago. Over a week period in Pennsylvania, they got 40 plus inches of snow. Now, you might like snow, but if you've ever been someplace with 20, 30, or 40 inches in one short period, you ain't going to like that shit. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. It fucks with your life, puts holes in people's
Um,
roofs, and makes it fucking miserable.
with all due respect, Mike, I kind of welcome the challenge because my thought process is I would happily tackle the challenge of a whole bunch of snow for the same reason that I kind of miss the fact that Blockbuster is gone. It
Yeah, okay, I got you.
sometimes I feel like there's a little too much simplicity in life. See, nowadays the reason I liked because there used to be a Blockbuster in my town downtown. There's a fucking paint store there now, which I don't get the point of paint stores, but whatever. Um, it's like, well, I mean, I get the point of paint stores, but like, if you're gonna have a paint store, sell something else because no one's going to just buying paint. No one's gonna do that. But anyway, for Blockbuster, back in the day, putting the VHS tapes in the player or rewind, using the video recorder to record those VHS things, those little like taking the little handles and rewinding the tape when you're done. That was just something you did. It was
Yeah,
part of your life just as much as taking the trash out or going to feeding the dog or whatever. It was just like it was part of the checklist, and it like it made you feel at home. There's a certain charm to it that you just can't find now because all these streaming services do it all for you.
right, right,
um
exactly.
Also, this is something that I learned just from my days. You want to know, someone tried to sell a disc rewinder, a DVD CD disc rewinder in the 2000s, and apparently they made a lot of money off it. So that should
Wow.
have been the warning sign that stupid people will fall for anything.
Stupid people will fall for anything. We're going to wrap things up on the Rational Boomer podcast. And I want to tell you something with all due respect. You're a smart kid. You got some good ideas. You're going to do what you're going to do. And I support you every bit. If you were my kid, I'd say do what you got to do. But here's something you got to understand, and you will
I talk
realize
too
it at
much.
some point. No, 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 you don't. No, it's not that at all. As smart as you are right now, at 20 years old, when you're 40, you're going to realize I didn't know jack shit. I might have been smart. I mean, with experience and time brings you into different areas and different feelings and different, you're in a whole different parallel universe because I remember when I was 20 and I was a dipshit when I was 20. Now
I
you're
mean, you
you're
voted
not
for
a
Reagan. You
dipshit.
you must have
Uh,
been one.
well, yeah, but at that point, politics wasn't really a thing. All I'm saying is what you got to do henceforth from here on out. Do everything you do, pay attention to everything, be curious, and learn as much as you can. Because when you're 40, you'll
Already
realize
working
how
on it.
much more you know when you're 40 than you do when you're 20. You're smart for a
Yeah.
20-year-old kid, but you got a lot to learn. So be open to learning it.
I mean, hey, I'm not going around saying your body, my choice, planning to form
Right.
an assault squad to attack a woman or texting black people saying, report to such and such place for your enslavement. I mean, I must be smarter than some people at least.
There's no question about that. You are smarter than most people of your age. But I will say this, it's not even about intellect, it's about integrity and decency. At least you have the integrity and decency.
Yeah.
You learn with age and time and all that stuff, but
Yeah. My
at least you're starting out from a good place.
yeah. This last thing was my last message to folks before we have to wrap this up is if you take nothing else away from this meeting, I'm going to Canada. I'm studying at university, going full permanent residency, citizenship, all that shit. I feel like I am leaving. Let me just say this. I am leaving my country, at least for the foreseeable future, because my country has left me. What
I
was it that
get it.
Will said? What was it that Will said? I fucked up. I trusted you, and you betrayed that trust. I
Yeah.
trusted my country to do the right thing, to have the sense, integrity, and decency to make the right choice. They did not. You have violated my trust in you so egregiously and in such a vile way that I cannot be near you. I'm feeling like an abused partner finally going out to go to my sister's house or something. Like I can't be
Yeah.
in the same house with you. I got to go to my sister's house. I can't look at you. I can't be with you.
I get it. And I will agree with you on that, um, for me as a 64-year-old guy, my life is the way it's going to be. It's really not going to change until I keel over. But I really feel for young people in this country. You've been made to pay a lot of money for college. You get out of college, you get a job that doesn't pay very well. Housing is ridiculous. Prices are ridiculous. When somebody says the economy is bad, you and I see it from a different perspective. And I got to remember that.
Yeah.
It's tougher for you now than it was for me then. And I got to respect that and understand that.
I mean, I live pretty comfortably. I'm in California. My uh my mom's my mom's in like health insurance. My dad's in the tech area. I got it pretty good right now. Um, I've also my I have some pretty hefty properties and assets that are in my family line that I'm going to inherit at some point. So there is that. I'm not talking like Elon Musk or Vivek Wawa smarmy level of
But at
things,
least you
but
have some
comfortable
advantages
stuff.
going forward.
A safety net, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, in the end of it all, I guess I would say before I get out, I wanted to apologize to you, Mike, if I talked too much or if I railroaded
No,
you
no.
or I just rambled too much. I'm on the autism spectrum. I have ADHD. I speak faster than I think, which is why I fuck up my words so much and just talk longer than I should. It's a problem.
No, no, no. Don't worry about that. You did fine. In fact, I would suggest that you look at the comments on YouTube because people like the guests we bring on. Um,
Oh, I'm
we
sure they do.
have different types of folks coming on. We have Eric who's one way. We have Will who's another way. We have Kristen who's different. We have Shelby
Yeah.
who was really different. but they all have something to say. They all have an important perspective, and that's the whole point of doing this. I don't want you to try to conform to what you think you should be. I just want you to be who you are.
Right. Uh, Another quick thing, and then I really do want to respect your time. I want to, wrap this all up. For Will, he's in Georgia, right?
He's in
He
Georgia.
lives in Georgia. He's originally from California. I would recommend that you let him know, especially he's doubly at risk. He's in a red state and he's Latino. Find a way to get to a blue state as fast as possible if he can, because just based on the level of unhinged and violent that we're dealing with right now in this country, I am legitimately worried for his safety, even if you or he are not. So do be sure to let him know, like, if you aren't considering an exit plan, please try and make one now. This is my exit plan, is the Canada thing.
Well, right after the election, he was a little concerned about what the prospects were, and then he
Oh
came
yeah,
to a point and said, "Fuck that! I'm going to
saw
fight this."
people waving signs outside his house. Like, didn't he like have rocks thrown at his house as well?
No, no, it wasn't that close. It was something not that far away. It wasn't that imminent as I
I was
understood it,
just like
but
a bunch of idiots marching with signs in the nearby road
yeah,
or something, right?
yeah, something like that. And I, yeah, Will and I will talk about that more because I know he has concerns about it. I spent some time down in Georgia. You don't have to leave Georgia to get out of red areas. I mean, I go to Savannah, and Savannah's about as blue as you can get, or Atlanta or whatever. I don't know. I'm concerned about everybody going on in the future. Um, Will's a fighter, though, man. I don't worry about Will too much. I'd hate to
That's true.
wade into something if Will's
Um,
on the other side.
yeah. Anyway, I have overstayed my welcome a bit. I've taken up enough of your time.
No, 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 no. You're fine. Don't be
Let's
so concerned about that. We do
right.
whatever the fuck.
Anyway,
You know
yeah.
why we do whatever we want on this show? Because it's my
Why?
fucking show and we do whatever the fuck we want. And if
You said
anybody
it,
don't
brother.
like it, they can suck it. And everybody knows the rule. So
Yeah.
you're more than welcome. Come back anytime. It's
Oh,
good
of
to,
course. I probably will, because I have more. I'm gonna have
absolutely,
more thoughts in the things ahead. For
absolutely.
now, though, for anyone wanting to find me, I have a very sparse presence on any social media, even YouTube. I don't really have anything there. I am going on Blue Sky though, so if you're hoping to find me there, you should be able to find me there on J of the Canadian Path. I'll have my own page on Blue Sky. It's going to have um, all the stuff in relation to my my journey through school and appearances on the show, trying to get into a Canadian college. And by the way, if and when I do end up getting into a Canadian university college and go into the thing up there, if some of you out there in the audience are like, you liked me on the show, and you're just like, no, don't leave us. No, I'm going to keep coming on the show even up in Canada, because
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
for one thing, I feel like this show is worth risking, you know, being up later or whatever for. And for another, I feel like it's a pretty nice notch on your belt to have somebody who's in Canada on your show. I feel like that there's got to be some kind of medal for that, or something, right?
Well, there are other people in other parts of the world that want to be on the show I've talked to, and it's tough with the timing because there's such a different time change. This isn't so problematic. So, yeah, it would be great to hear from
Yeah.
somebody from Canada. We've
You
got
might
Canadian listeners.
you guys might have to be okay with hearing about the occasional hockey game, or me being in there with pancakes and shit with maple syrup and stuff on it. I might
Absolutely.
also be
Well,
developing an accent. I'm already practicing my A. What's good, A? How's everybody
or
doing,
or
A?
or or the long O, oot and a
Yeah,
boot.
a
I'm in
boot.
Minnesota. I watch
Sorry.
hockey. I know a lot of Canadian people. I know the whole thing. It's yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. You're more than welcome to
My
come
pleasure,
back
Mike.
anytime. I enjoyed talking to you, and it's good to get somebody as young as you are on the show because most people think it's all old people on this, and it's not. Kristen and you and Shelby and some other people, they're young folks, and that's a
Yeah,
feather in my cap if I can get young folks to
yeah,
listen.
of course. I Right now I'm not too concerned, but to those folks out there in red states, try and find a plan to get out. in case you feel like your area or your target demographic might be threatened, do start working on an exit plan. But above all, just stay safe, form a community, strengthen numbers, resist, deny, defend, depose, however you want to do it. And when I say
Yeah,
deny, defend, depose, deny their ability to do fucked up shit to you, depose them in their power when you have the chance, especially the midterms,
yeah,
and defend those who are at risk, who can't defend
absolutely.
themselves. Deny the
Absolutely.
attacks, defend the people who are at risk, and depose the attackers when you get the chance.
Absolutely. Well, Jay, I appreciate it very much for you coming on. Those of you that are listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we
Yeah.
will talk to you again tomorrow.